Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all well. Yes, I am back in the pink marshmallow. It is cold here. Today we're going to do the first of two videos on a show I recently saw. This one is kind of coming with a caveat. Ooh, a video with a caveat, how fancy. Basically the show that I'm going to do my two videos on is for a show that is closing like this week. When this video hopefully goes live, there will be one day left to see, and when the review goes up, the show will in fact have closed. However, I am still going to do these two videos because I'm manifesting a return or a future life for the show. So without further ado, if you want to know the nervous guide for the BFG at the RSC, which is a very fun thing to say, stick around and we'll get into it in 2 whole seconds. So yes, welcome back to my channel. You might be thinking, hey, she said 2 separate videos on one show. What is she talking about? Firstly, hello, welcome, my name is Claire, you must be new. Secondly, let's do the spiel. For every show I see, I like to do 2 separate videos, time and willing permitted. The first of those videos is this one. This is the nervous guide. The nervous guide is basically everything you need to know before you go into the show. Now that could be seat and seat view, information about the theatre itself if it's relatively new to me, or there is something that I want to talk about in regards to the theatre. The big thing is the sensory and content warnings, the things that might spook you or might cause you to be slightly anxious during the show, and also merchandise. Not too bad. The second of the 2 videos is a review. Review is always put in inverted commas because at the end of the day, I'm a noble professional. I just like watching theatre and musicals and all the happy stuff in life. And I sometimes go and watch things alone and I want a soundboard. And this is therefore that soundboard where we're just going to talk things I enjoyed about the show, things I maybe thought could be better about the show. You know, just imagine me sitting in a coffee shop with you and I just spurt all my thoughts out. I don't know where that was going. Anyway, so that is my second video, but back to today. Today, as I said, is the nervous guide, so let's get into it. Starting with seat. Let's go seat first today. If I was professional, I would have done this beforehand, but I have just found it. So, gotta make sure I get the right seat. It's that one. My seat for this show was in the stalls, which was a new experience for me at the RSC, in the Royal Shakespeare Theatre no less. Because last time I went, last year, I sat in the, I believe it's called the dress, the middle circle. So for this show, I sat in the stalls. I was in row N, seat 29. My view looked like this. Now this seat did come with a slight caveat. Why am I saying caveat today so much? A slight little warning, if you will, in which that it says it's a narrow seat without arms. That was very much true, and it had its bonuses and its negatives. Its bonuses is that without having arms in the seat, and by arms it's literally there's nothing to rest. The benefit is that there's nothing digging into my hips for the entire show, which is always a joy. It doesn't happen in every theatre, but some seats are slightly uncomfortable in that way. However, it was a narrow seat. I didn't sit on anything but my seat, and I'm quite wide. I mean, not the best jumper to explain this because this is oversized. But I had someone either side of me. I don't think I encroached in their space too much. They didn't tell me that I did, and I would try and make myself thinner if possible if that was the case. But you do kind of feel like you are slightly up in someone's grill, if you will. But it was a comfy seat because it was the last row in the stalls, or at least in the area that I was sat. There was no one behind, so if I needed to wriggle I wasn't upsetting anybody. And in front, because the seat is slightly raised, not massively but slightly raised up, there was a little bar in the front which I put my feet on, and I was very comfortable. Yeah, the view, as hopefully it's been sitting to the side of me, if it hasn't I'll pop it up now, was pretty decent. I missed absolutely nothing and it was a great view. Top marks on the ticket. Merchandise, let's do that next because I literally bought the programme. It cost me £6. I actually pre-ordered it when buying my tickets, so I knew that there was going to be some available because its run is nearly over and sometimes people stop selling them or they limit the amount that they've purchased. So I made sure that there was going to be one waiting for me, so I literally just turned up to the theatre itself, walked into the shop, showed my QR code. They looked at the QR code, didn't even scan it, they just looked at it, ticked off something on a little list they had and handed it over. I can't complain about that. I could have looked into the shop a bit more to see if there was any of the merch, but number one, the shop was busy and I wanted to get out, and number two, because of travelling in from where I live to Stratford and then having to find some food, I came into the theatre area with about 20 minutes to go, so it was literally toilet, find seats, sit and chat to the two people either side of me for a couple of minutes, and then the show started. So there was that. Let's get into the things that I enjoy talking about the most, which is the sensory and content warnings. So as all good theatres do, and if they don't they should, because it's always helpful, there was a little poster, ding, you can just about see it with my brightness, which was placed by the door, or one of the first doors that you get to, which says, "We're thrilled to welcome you to our big friendly giant of a show. As well as some magic bangs, pops and some frobscottle, this production has flashing lights, loud noises, blackouts, haze, and some giant puppets." There is also a QR code. It says, "For more content and advisory information, please scan this QR code or speak to a member of staff." I didn't actually do that, and I don't know if I could physically do it through a picture. But long story short, it is a children's based show, so it's not scary. If you've ever read the story or know of the story, there is a little bit of good versus bad, but it's not a scary show, and there was a lot of children in our audience. Running times: part 1 is approximately 55 minutes, there's then a 20-minute interval, and then part 2 is 40 minutes approximately. All that is helpfully on the on the poster. There was also a poster underneath saying that there was a change in Bloodbotter's arm. More on that in the next video. On top of that, going into my list, for Act 1, I put at the end of the London chase there is a blackout. The blackout is over pretty quickly. It's literally lights down, lights up situation. There is one of those in the second half, which I'll get into in a minute, but both blackouts, you're kind of prepared with this one, because it's kind of, the music builds up and builds up and builds up as the chase is happening, and then the chase ends, the music kind of comes to a pivotal point, and then the lights go out and then come back on. Also in Act 1 there is a mild little bang / explosion during the dream making scene. Basically BFG is mixing together this dream in order to get a message to somebody. I'm trying to be vague, but at the same time it is the BFG, so I feel like people do know the story, but we're going to keep it vague just in case you don't, and it does come back and you have the chance to see it for yourself. During that scene, he's pouring different things into a bowl. The bowl then gets kind of filled with hazy smoke, if you will, and gets mixed together, and it gets stirred and stirred and stirred, and then boom, little bang. Nothing insane, not loud, kind of a poof, and a bit of light comes out. I don't know what that shoulder movement was. Also in Act 1, the last two things are pretty much the end of Act 1. Firstly, I've literally put in my notes, head eaten, and I'll tell you for why. The last little bit of Act 1 is during a moment with the Queen and her butler. They are in the Queen's bedroom. A giant comes, and he's really big and really scary, comes out. The butler essentially goes, stop. The next minute the butler has no head. It's basically the butler doing this, but without the bun getting in the way and without my head being visible. He just literally goes boop. Who thought I was doing that on a video today? Not I. It's not gory. It's literally someone going and losing their head, but it's something to be aware of if you're seeing this show, or if you see it in the future, and the direction is the same. And then finally there was a blackout to end Act 1. Done and dusted, the lights go down, the two characters who are on the stage at the end of Act 1 come off, the lights come up. Beautiful. Act 2, I only have two things, and one of them is really silly and not really something to be aware of, and which causes like anxiousness or nervousness, but I put it in anyway. Act 2 I put during the panic room scene, there is a blackout. This one is more sudden than the one that happens in the first half, in that the Queen and the butler are having a conversation in a panic room. Conversation, probably not the best word, but it's the one I'd used. They are talking to each other in the panic room. The lights go out. All of a sudden, a girl has suddenly appeared from nowhere. The girl is called Kimberly in the show, who is like the friend of Sophie. Again, if you have never read this and you're like, what is she talking about? But we're still talking about it, so yeah. It's very much off on just enough time for the character of Kimberly to come out from wherever she has been, end up in the butler's arms, the lights come back on. It's quick, it's sudden, but again, not scary. The other thing I put is that there are lots of fart sounds. Towards the end of the show, the evil, spoiler alert for this one, the evil have been dealt with, and the good giant, otherwise known as the BFG, is welcomed into the palace / the palace gardens for breakfast by the Queen with Sophie and Kimberly. BFG brings along something, a drink of his choice, which I can't put it any other way, makes people fart. So there is a moment during that scene where BFG, Sophie, Kimberly, Queen's butler, whose name is, I want to say Stubbs, but I don't want to be wrong. Please hold for 2 seconds. Look at me, singing my little heart out. Tibbs, so close. Yes, all of those characters are basically farting. It's a little bit of fun, and if you don't laugh at farts, no matter what your age, I don't know if we can be friends. And that is basically the content and the sensory done. Smashed it. The worry with me and this show and doing this video is that if this does come back in any shape or form, which I really hope it does. And spoiler alert, the next video I'm going to do is very much going to be a I love this show kind of video. If it does come back, some of these things may not be the same, but at the end of the day, I kind of wanted to still make this video in case, one, you watch this on the Friday night it goes up, and then you go and watch it on the Saturday, which is the day it closes, or they just bring the entire show as it has been at the Shakespeare Theatre, Royal Shakespeare Theatre, that's the word, at the Royal Shakespeare Company, to a new place or back to Stratford. I will take it anywhere. Tour it, do anything. I want to see it again, basically. But yeah, that's enough of me rambling on. I'm going to silence myself here because I want to try and film the review. So expect fluffy fleece again for that one, because I just got warm. So we're coming back. Also, I have got a second fleece on my legs. It's cold. Enough of me. I'm gonna shut up. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you come back next time. Without further ado, all I need to say is the usual, which is so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, and goodbye. Bye everyone.